All right, I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, I just want to type on Google, what is data normalization? What is data normalization? Okay, and see other information. So why is it important? Okay, let me just start from what is data normalization. I know that you can still check about why is it important. Okay, now, so let me go with this. So what is data? Okay, why is it important? Okay. Let's start from here, from Google. What is data normalization? It said that data normalization is a process of reducing data redundancy in a table and improving what? Data integrity. Data normalization is a technique used in databases to organize what? Data efficiently. You can see that result is a technique used in databases to organize data efficiently. All right, so I'm picking up this. They say, how have you ever faced a situation where data redundancy and anomalies affected the accuracies of your data? So let me just stop there. You understand that? But one thing I want you to know is that the data normalization is the process of reducing data efficiency, data redundancy in a table. Redundancy in the sense that you don't want a data just keep on occupying space that's of no use. Some of this can be like a repetitions of data. The same information you are keeping on repeating it over and over. And also improving what? Integrity. Part of the integrity is that you have to put some rules in place. And that is what the data normalization rules now stand on. So I'll be looking at some of those rules and try to explain them what they stand for. Okay. So I believe that these are some of the things on our own we can just do more research on in order to get more clear information. But that is just the summary of what data normalization is. Now let me now check the some of the rules. If I say one NF, you see automatically it's already bringing say one NF normalization. Then you say example. Let's look at one NF normalization. So, I'm just picking up this. Okay, sorry, I need to. Let me go with this. Let me go with gig for gig. Let me check this site. Gig for gig. Now, can you see this? I need to be sure. I believe you can see this. In fact, this site is one of the best sites to quickly learn all those rules with even examples. Okay. All right. I'll run through this.
Hello,
Then, as
sir.
I'm checking the example here, I'll be
You
painting
know
my
what?
own
Let us
example
let him know
just
that
for
it
you
is
to
just Google
understand it.
page that we can see.
Okay. We said that
Because
in the relational
nobody's saying anything.
database design, which is simply what in a database management, that's in any RDBMS technology. I told you that any database techno applications they perform what RDBMS, which is what their system, their what relational database management system. That's the concept what they base on. That's what he's saying here. In a relational database design, normalization is the process of organizing data to reduce redundancy and improve data integrity. Now it goes straight towards first number form. Is the first step in this process. It ensures that the structure of your database table is organized in a way that make it easier to manage and query. It is the first and essential step in designing a well-structured relational database. Okay, good. So I'm copying this. I'll just paste it on the WhatsApp. So I want you to visit this site also. So I'm just picking some of these information from here. So let me drop it. It's a very good site to learn more about what is data normalization address. So I've dropped it on the WhatsApp, the link. So you can check it at your own leisure time. Okay. Okay. Now these are the rules. One on normal form. So I'm just scrolling. I'm scrolling up. Okay. Excuse me. Hello, Mr. Razak. Okay. All right. Let me stop it and share it again. Okay. All right. Stop sharing. Sorry about that. Okay, I thought you so I want to share the screen again. Sorry about that. I thought that you are seeing what I mean. So we can see anything on the screen. Okay, sorry about that. This must be important. You have it. Share. Yeah, good. Let me try. Just this. Okay, I believe you can see me now. So I believe you can see me now. Let me see. All right. Now, so this website, I say is a very good website to learn a lot about a lot of things. But I'm just picking what data normalization from it. The site name is on gig for gig. So I'm picking part of the rules of data normalization. So the URL I've copied it and dropped. Do you understand that? I've pasted it on our WhatsApp. So I'm going straight to the rules. It says first normal form. If a relation contains a composite of multiple values, it violate, it violates the first normal form, or a relation in the first normal form if not if it does not contain any composite value. And coming, a relation is the first normal form if every attribute in a relation is a single value attribute. Okay, I know all this they are very technical, but as I'm reading it, I want to see the example they use here. At least example for the first number form. Let's look at cost table. So when we are talking of cost, we say there must be a cost name. and courses. One of the things I want you to know is that I'm looking at course. Let me see the second table is going to talk about. Okay, all right. Maybe when we get to the second number form. So when we talk of course, for example, if you are doing course a semester, let's say this is our first semester in the school, and we are doing GNS 101, right? GNS 102 or Math 105. So all these courses I've mentioned. Okay, thank you. So, Mr. You can see my screen. Good. Now, so I've mentioned three courses, or I can also say that we want to write WAEC, or in secondary school we are doing math, English, economics. A student is doing three courses, or for JAM, math, English, economics, and that student ID is one, right? The name of the students is, let's say, John. John is doing what three courses: math, English, economics. So what the first number phone is telling us that we cannot just pack, we can't pack those three courses and give it to John on one row. Do you understand that? All those three courses, we cannot just place them on one row and say that John ID is one, right? And John is doing what? Math, English, economics. What is expecting that we should do is that when it comes to first number form, we have to separate it. This course and John, which is the student, don't forget this is a course table, right? One thing we need to do, this ID is actually for what? For course, for courses. Because what is the table name? Courses. And every table must have an ID. That's why I can say that this ID here is for course table, not for students' name. This name is the name of the student. Means that there should be what? Another separate table to capture students. Because if you look at it, students is different from what? Courses. Name is the name of a student. It is a student that enroll for what? Different courses. So it's telling us that the first thing we need to do is that we have to separate them. This table you are looking at now should be what? Split into two separate tables. So you treat students as one object and courses as another object. So when we are talking of courses, courses is not a living thing, but student is a living thing. Let's look from that angle. So when we are talking of a student table, now look at student registration. A student table will not be what? What are the personal information that the school needs concerning a student? So the personal information the school will need is that okay, the student name, first name, last name, gender, phone number, email, address. If next of kin is important, guidance, it will be important. Then those are the personal information that students have. A student have personal information about the student. Then courses too. All these courses that the student is doing. Just look at when we are in the university days. Every semester you have to register for different courses. So there should be a course table At least before you get to the school, before you get admitted into the school, all those courses as already what they are already existing, and you are just they are just assigning those courses to you based on semester per semester. So there is a cost table. So all those courses I've mentioned, we occupy different roles, like the way we have C1, C2. Just we can substitute it for what? Maths, English. So I want on the cost table, what we should have, if you're having ID1 for the cost name should be what? Maths. We just have only C1 here. So another row would be for what? C2. Another row would be for what? C3. Do you understand that? Like that, like that. Now, if you look at these courses that we have here, we have C1, C2. So a student is doing C1 and C2, two courses like math, English. Another person is doing what? Economics. Another person is doing what? English and economics in course table. So for the course table, what we should have in the course table is that three separate row. For row 1, C1, ID2 should be what? C2, ID3, C3, like that. Math, English, economics. So each one of them, we have their own what? ID, which is the primary. They are unique ID. You can't pack them together. That is the first rule. So when we are now talking of the student table, so in the student table, we'll be having what? All the information about the student. ID, student ID, first name, last name, phone number, gender. These are the columns. Email, if the address is important, address. So these are the personal information of the student. Do you understand that? This will be personal information of the student, right? And for student one, we have Taye and all his information. Student two, student three, student four, and so on like that. That's the way it should be. Now, this is what I now want to do now. That is what first number form is telling us. That we should know what a composite. He said that he mentioned something. Or where are you? First number form. He's mentioning here. He said what? A relation, which is a table, is said to be in first number form if all attributes, that is, all columns, contain only atomic indivisible value. What he's saying is that atomic in the sense that they should be what? Separated. I cannot have C1 and C2 as for the cost name. Means that each one of them suppose what? Occupy his own role. Maybe this is for C1. Row 2 should be for what? C2. Row 3 should be for what? C3. That's atomicity. That's major or information about the first number form. Okay. And if you look at it, what each column contains value of a single type. C1, C2, each column should contain, they should be separated. Each row is unique, means that they should have their what? IDs, which is what identifies what the primary key. There are no repeated group or array. You should not have any form of repetitions in form of the ID. So with this now, I will go to the Excel. I will use Excel to capture something, information, just to explain what this is all about. Then I will now go to one of the database server we are using, which I'll be telling you how you can download it and how you can install it. Do you understand me? But let me just use Excel to explain this particular table here. So on going to the Excel, I should be having what? Courses, one table, students, another table. Okay, let me quickly do that now. So I will stop this, then launch my Excel and display my Excel so you see what I'm doing. Where are you? Stop. Stop. Okay, stop.